Hello, I'm John, and this is Coins, RPGs, and More. For my first review of a role-playing game on this channel, I'm going to review a role-playing game that is currently my favorite, and that is Swords and Wizardry, Continual Light, which is based on the Swords and Wizardry rules written by Matt Finch. Continual Light itself is written by Zach Glazer, James Spahn, and Eric Tenkar Stein. The cover is by James Shields. The interior art by Dennis McCarthy, James Shields, Glenn Hallstrom, and William McAustland. If I mispronounced any of your names, I do apologize. There are three main reasons why this is my favorite RPG. The first one is it's easy to read. Let me explain. Let me show you. This is a printed copy that I got from Amazon. It's a full-size book, but in the interior, it's a decent size of print, lots of spacing between the lines, and the text is pretty bold. When looking at various parts of the game book, it's easy to follow what section you're in, what's being talked about, because there's lots of bold and underlined text outlining where everything is and what information is pertinent. There's not a lot of flavor text here. There's not a lot of story. There's just the rules that you need and a bare bones explanation of what they are. As a person with a visual impairment, sometimes I get frustrated when there's a lot of text to read and I'm trying to learn a new system. The designers and the authors love to talk about all the different aspects of their system, and that's great. They should be proud of their work. I sometimes get a bit tired when I'm trying to read through all that material just to get to character creation. I could skip, but I've had it happen where important information, like how to roll ability scores, isn't always where I think it ought to be, and is kind of tucked into a section of the book that I didn't expect. So I've learned to read the whole thing instead of skipping around. With this book, you don't need to read the whole thing. You can skip around because it's all clearly labeled and it's all even gathered together. All the character creation rules that you need to make a character from scratch fit on 6 pages. All of them. And that's for a character from 1st level or to 7th level. I love that. I love the fact that it is also focused so that a new player doesn't get distracted. In fact, that's my point. That's my second point of why I love this system. First, it's easy to read for someone with visual impairment, especially if you buy the PDF version because you can blow it up to whatever size you want. And it will work with some screen readers as well. Your mileage may vary. Just do your due diligence and check your systems. But the second reason why I like it is that there's not a lot of meat when it comes to the rules. They keep all the rules you need to run a dungeon delving oriented game. And they cut out everything else. You just get exactly what you need. And I love that because I like tinkering. But when I tinker with a more complex system, things tend to have unexpected, unforeseen consequences. Sometimes that can spell danger or death to a campaign, depending on how severe. With this system, I have tinkered to my heart's content, and I've seen other people tinker even more than me, and it doesn't break the book. It doesn't break everything down. All the consequences can be predicted because what you are changing only matters to what you are changing, and there's nothing else that really depends on a lot of that. So it's great for a tinkerer. It's great for someone who just wants to make something unique for themselves and have a toolkit to go based off of. It's also great for that purpose. The rules are clean and concise. One of the cool things, though, is they show you how you can use that clean and concise to do amazing things. The advanced classes are, like the game has the same core classes that we all expect: fighter, magic user, thief or rogue, and cleric. But then they also include in one page, there's two awesome systems. Both of these are reasons to buy this. First, the advanced classes, covering everything from assassins to swashbucklers. There's 8 of them. They're fantastic. All they do is take the core class that the advanced class is based on, and then add 1 or 2 special abilities to it. And it's the 1 or 2 special abilities that's all that's listed under the advanced class. Everything else is the same. The only result, if you have a character who has an advanced class over a character with a core class, is your character with the advanced class is going to level up a bit slower than the other characters. You have more power, you level up slower. It's a fairly equal trait. Now at higher levels it may break down a little bit, but frankly, if you're playing until the very end of a campaign, your character's gonna catch up pretty fast. 33 sessions is all it takes to get a max level character with the advanced classes. I challenge most people to last 33 sessions in any campaign with any system. Most of mine die long before that, not because not because I lose interest, but because people move. And the interest of players change, they want to do different things, that's fine. Never be the kind of GM that forces your players to be exactly what you want them to be. That's not good play. And I'll do another video about what I think are faux pas at the table, and what I think is good table behavior. My opinions are different. A perspective based on my visual impairment and my own life experiences. Now, okay, so that's 2 items. Let's go for the third and final one. The third and final one is, this is insanely translatable to different genres of roleplay. If you want to take this system from the dungeon delving fantasy exploration setting that is more or less the assumed setting and put it into a sci-fi setting, all you have to do is change the equipment lists. That's it. If you want to get fancier, then you can add your own advanced classes. Just use the same basic method of look at the core classes and then slap on 1 or 2 special abilities if you feel it's necessary. But let's be honest. Han Solo, man's a rogue. Just make a rogue, give him a blaster pistol, and see where he goes. That's all you really need. You don't need to have a special Han Solo class in the game, or a smuggler class if you wish. Other characters from famous books and television can really be broken down to the brass tacks, and then you can have the great core of what it takes to make a fun character, and then make it your own. And a lot of that, excuse me, fits into this system without needing to shoehorn anything, because it's fairly intuitive, as long as you are relatively familiar with the OSR. Now, there are some negative points to the system. I do feel obligated to mention them. The most important one is, because it is so bare bones, it does not explain some of the concepts that are presented in the system. For example, when a character gets a 15 or higher on their charisma score, they get a torchbearer automatically. Now, I know, and you probably know, that a torchbearer is a person who will carry your torch so that you don't have to carry it, and they might even act like a servant to, carry a couple extra things for you. They're basically a friend. They're a buddy who's agreed to go into the dungeon with you, but is not really going to take part in the fighting. They're just going to hold the torch high so that other people can see clearly. And you can swap that out for something else if you're a GM that doesn't want that sort of thing. I kind of like it. I've grown used to it. If you're new to OSR, Old School Renaissance games, the idea of a torchbearer would be confusing. I had a GM that I run games with, and he picked up this system to run for some friends after I ran it for him once. And so he didn't realize that the torchbearer was supposed to be a person. So he made the torchbearer a device that you can attach to the shield to then carry the torch. And you know what? It didn't make a lot of sense to me why you would make that decision and why that be based on charisma. But I guess maybe he was thinking charisma could also equal status, and therefore it's a rich person, and so they would have such a device. And that kind of makes sense. Like I can make that rule too, if I want to, and that's fun. It didn't really hurt his game any, but he just didn't know what it was. So I had to explain it to him, and that's why I would never simply give this book to someone and say, go run a game, or go read this and then run a game, without having run them through at least one game beforehand. Because I as a person, have that need to explain these things, because I can see how easily they can be misunderstood, and providing that context allows people to say, well, okay, that's what AC means, that's what a torchbearer is, that's what all these things. The authors do a pretty good job of explaining some of those, but not perfect, and that's one little, not sure on things that I would say about the system. Another negative one, if you will, is it's so simple that I've had players who crave a more announced, complex game just refuse to play, because they love complexity in their games. They love the give and take, the little rules here and there that you got to remember in order to make things make sense. And so but the reality is the game's not designed for them. And that's something that I, as a fan of the game and a game master, need to understand and respect. It's designed for people that want a simple game, that want to basically only have to carry a 20-sided die and a 6-sided die and be done. Or, well, the way I've run it a few times is 3 6-sided dice, and that's it. And I'll do another video about why I like 3 6-sided dice and why I think it's a great way to run a game. Not superior, but great. I'll do another video on that. I'll do another video on group initiative too, which is a feature of this system that I really love. But to get into that would be a bit long. So to sum up, the system, it's easy on the eyes as someone with a visual impairment. It is everything you need and nothing you don't as far as rules are concerned. And it's infinitely hackable to create like a Western game or an Alexander Dumas Three Musketeers themed game. You want to do a space science, a space opera themed game, you can do that. I could probably whip up something based on another property without too much trouble. You know, the one with the Smentor Prize. I could probably whip that up, no problem, because everyone will be either fighters or rogues. It's easily done. It's not a problem. Grab the game, play a game, enjoy yourself, and let the rules get out of the way of the story. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. This is John from Coins, RPGs, and More, signing out. Peace be with you.